Hello. Today we are going to be talking about the video game What Remains of Edith Finch. Now this video game I had never heard of, but I had seen that it had a couple, I think it was either nominated for awards or it had won awards. So I bought it with a bunch of stuff because it was like a bunch of stuff. PlayStation had like this massive sale on. And I was like, I want to play this game, and I just downloaded like a ton of games. It was brilliant, so I have like a ton of games I can now play. And What Remains of Edith Finch was one of them, and it was the first game I played. So I'm just here to discuss the game. I've played it now, so I'm just going to kind of talk about what I enjoyed about the game, what I didn't enjoy, which was really not much. I liked the whole game. So I'm going to start with the story of the game, mainly because to me the story is the very forefront of everything. If there's not a strong enough story behind it, then I'm not very interested, so story needs to be kind of right up there for me. So the story. I liked why she was there, to start off with. Now when you start the game, you are just kind of flung into it, like there is no hit here to start. It just, as soon as the game boots up, you're playing. And it starts off with you're on this boat and there's like someone holding this book, and I think it says Edith Finch on the front of it. I assumed that was Edith, and then suddenly we end up on this sort of road that's barred off, caged off. You have to go down this long winding road to the end, and then you start seeing a house, which by the way, I love the house. The house looked amazing, so good. But when you get up to the house, what I did was when I couldn't open the door, and I had looked down and I had seen, you couldn't see your toes, which you could see your body, and normally you can see the character's body, you can see their toes, which you couldn't. So I thought that's a bit strange, and our belly looked weird. So my first thought was, oh, she can't be pregnant. Like the character looked and seemed a bit young. And I was like, okay. I was like, it's probably something else that'll get explained later, but she looked pregnant to me. So the more I played through the game, there was like other parts, and the way you were told about the story was, it was her sort of monologue and what she was writing in this book. But the words were coming up on the screen, and you could interact with somebody at the start of the game, like you can walk into them and they scatter everywhere, and I really liked that. And there was at one point in the game where she was like climbing about the place, and she goes, I really should have thought about this, and if I had known there would have been so much climbing, I wouldn't have came at 22 weeks pregnant. And I was like, I thought that at the start, and I was so proud of myself. I probably shouldn't have been as proud as I was, but I was like, I guessed that at the start. I was quite chuffed. But I liked that she was there writing this all down for her baby, so her baby would know. I thought that was kind of a nice wee touch. I really did enjoy that part, and it was sort of like her telling the stories, because obviously there was no one alive to tell her kid about her family, so she was gonna have to do it, which I really liked. There's one part of the story that I really want to talk about. The girl you play as, Edith, funnily enough. Edith had two brothers. She had Milton and I think it was Lewis. Milton went missing, and I don't think it's ever really resolved what happened to him. But her other brother Lewis died. But basically what you do is when you're going around the house, you kind of go into a family member's room and you sort of live out either their disappearance or their death, or a part of their life is what you live out. You play that out, and that's like a section of the game. So you eventually get to our brother Lewis's room, who his bit, and I think it was one of our mum's brothers bit, the baby. His bit was really fun as well. I loved his bit. I loved being in the bathtub with all the toys, and just that was amazing. Really sad how it ended. I was like nearly crying when it ended. I was like, oh, but I thought that was like a ton of fun. I loved doing that bit. But going back to our brother, he was working, and I think it was a can factory, they always said, but it was like basically where you like make fish into a can. And what you had to do with him was you had to grab the fish, move it along, chop the head, chop it down, but you had to do that with like one of your analog sticks. So it was just one of them you were doing, so it was just move, chop down, but in like the corner of the screen. So you're doing this, and in the corner of the screen his like imagination's playing out. And it's only taking up a wee bit of the screen, so you need to control that with the other analog stick, but you're going along, chop, down, along, chop, down, along, chop, down, along, chop, down. Then you're doing this with the other one. I really struggled because I was like, along, chop, down, move this way. Because the character went different ways from what that was happening, so you had to try and control the two at the one time. But I really enjoyed that part and how difficult it was, but the more you played, like when you started it was really difficult and you couldn't focus on the two, but the more you just sat and did, because it was repeated actions on the one hand, so the fish hand was really repeated, so you're sitting going, and then when you were doing this with this other hand, the more the story went on, the more this thumb just autopiloted. And you could really focus on the imagination, and the imagination grew over the screen until it completely filled the screen, and then you were just playing this wee imagination. And near like the end of it all, you end up walking into this room, and now you're finally in the factory. You're in where Lewis is working, and you see him. It's really weird because you're Lewis in the imagination, but now you're seeing yourself in real life. He's like, oh, and then you walk up and like your people are there, you've left your old life behind, and then, oh, you're going to put your crown on. You're like, that cool, but then you go into like, is it a guillotine? The thing that chops off your head, and you go into that, and it's Lewis, in real life Lewis puts his head into the chop thing, and that's how he dies. But I honestly thought that was like the best family story, like, not family friendly, but I thought that was like the best story. Because I felt you really became part of the story. You felt what Lewis felt. It was the same repetitive task you were doing over and over again. And the more you did it, the more you went on autopilot, and you could really just focus on the story of his imagination. To the point where there was a point where I actually forgot that I could no longer see the fish, I could no longer feel the vibration. It was now just the game, the wee story I was playing. So I loved that section. That section was so smart. I absolutely loved it, and would happily play that section again. Like, oh, it was so good. The mystery behind it all, during it all, it's mentioned several times that Mum didn't want me to be here, and Mum didn't want this. And after two of her kids have already had tragic things happen, she didn't want the same happening to me. But Edie, who is the grandmother, wanted you to stay, and during the whole thing, obviously at the start you don't know what's happening. As you get further to the end, you realise, oh, it's because everybody dies in the family or goes missing, but at the start you're kind of like, that, what the hell happened? So at the start of it really links you in, and by the time you've sort of grasped the concept of why our mum wanted to leave, you just need to know about every member of the family. You've got to know. It's just something you need to know. And just walking around it, like, the whole structure was beautiful. It was just amazing how they had done it. Another story that kind of, it was good and I liked it, but it wasn't as captivating as Lewis was. It was the Aunt Barbara. I really liked her story as well, because it was like a comic book one, and how she died because she was like a child actor. I really liked hers. I thought it was a lot of fun playing it, and very mysterious, and how you interacted with parts of the house. Like, there was a trapdoor you have to go through in the start of the game that takes you through to Holly's room, and in the comic book section at Aunt Barbara's, you go upstairs and you need to go back into that bit to then kind of defeat everything that's going on. And I thought that was really cool. Like, you're really keeping the sort of things you learn in the game is sort of like things you do now. And then, like, there was a part in it where it was like, if you turn this like thing so many times, the key will come out, whereas at the start of the game it doesn't come out, and then you're like, that, I didn't turn it enough, because I didn't. I just kind of turned it a couple of times and went, right, okay, fine. I moved on, and then after I read that I was like, I need to go back down and see if that actually works. So it was really interesting how each story kind of moved you on to the next wee bit. Another thing I actually want to mention is Milton. So you had to go right to the top of the house to get to like Edith's like brothers and her room and all that. And when you went right up and you went into Milton's room, there was an unfinished swan painting on the wall, which I thought was really cool because Unfinished Swan's another game I've got to play. And I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And I later found out the same developers created both games, so I was like, this is cool. The ending, it killed me, the ending. Like, I was playing this game along and I had actually forgotten the opening sequence with like the person and there was like a broken arm or something and they were opening a book. Completely forgot about that. I forgot about that entirely until the ending, where you kind of came back to that person. Will you please? Yes, the ending completely killed me. I had forgotten about the wee person at the start and like the person who opened the book. I had just assumed that was Edith and that was where my mind stuck. Until the ending came around and you seen them again, and that's when it hit me. I just went, oh no. Oh no. And then when you see and obviously Edith's grave and you kind of clicked all together, I went, Edith's dead and that's her child. I was sobbing on my bed. I was so upset that this had happened. I was like, how dare you? How dare you? I was so betrayed. I was so hurt at that point. I was ready for just screaming. I was like, the head's as precious, the killer's precious. I was so hurt. But it was such a good ending and it's like an ending that I'll always remember. It did. It really did. It hurt. Like I've said throughout the video, like the words coming up on the screen, the way the house looked, how the game loaded, because you just kind of loaded straight into playing, there was no menus or anything, it was just straight into playing the game. I really liked all that. There was no sort of playing about, you were just kind of, it sort of, the sort of loading straight into the game kind of threw me off, and I was sitting waiting for a wee bit, and then when you started to play, I was just so interested, like why did we start the game all of a sudden? Why don't we have a loading screen? Why? How? So I was so intrigued in that I just kept playing. I finished this within a day. I actually played through it twice because the recording messed up, so I had to play up to the part where I last recorded and re-record it all. So I managed to basically play through the game twice in one day. So it was a really good game. Like, everything about it, there was just various parts in it, like playing through Holly's bit and everything. Playing through Holly's bit and everything was just amazing, and I really did enjoy everything about it. It was really good, and I really did like how every time you finished a family member story, she would draw in our wee book that she had, and it was a family tree, and then by the end of it you had everybody in the family tree, and I thought that was really amazing to see the family tree and sort of to keep a wee tracker of who you've seen and not, because I think it's a trophy you get if like you see everybody's story. So I loved it. I think it was a really good game, and it's definitely a game I would recommend to others to play. It's not a very long game. Like I said, I played through it twice in the one day, and I started playing it around about 10 or 11 in the morning. I went out to help my family with the back garden. Then I had my dinner, which was probably, I spent tea time. I probably spent about 2 hours with tea time, like having my dinner, then talking to everybody, and then coming back again. So I spent like a lot of time out the room and then a lot of time playing, and I still played through the game basically twice. But I would definitely recommend it. It's a good game, it's well worth the money, and yeah, 100%. One of my favourite games, definitely. That's the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all again in the next one. See you later. Watch out!